My hypothesis is that a founder is different than a CEO. A founder is what I like to call a firestarter. There's someone who's really focusing on hustling and getting things started. But starting a fire versus being a fiduciary for an organization are two different things. Here's the good news. The good news is that you're going to run your company most likely between 5 and 12 years. That's right. That's how long it takes to take a company from the beginning to its first capital to a successful exit. It's about 5 to 7 to 12 years. That's a long time. That's over 10 years. So the good news is you can drive transformational change in yourself as long as you're aware, and you can become a CEO, someone that is a fiduciary, someone that big investors trust and rely on, someone that a board looks to for leadership. You can evolve to that person. 1 to 2 founders take their company to the exit. That's 1 to 2 out of 5. Those are not great numbers, which signals to me, and probably to you, that most people don't get there, and that the success of a company is really limited by the personal development and growth of the individual running it. So founder to CEO is not only a structural and a title change, but it's a mindset shift that I'm going to help you get through. And I'm going to bring to you the lessons and skills and activities that I use with the companies in which we've invested. I will think about, when we do a round, what's this founder make a year? Are they making enough money to sustain themselves and their family? Are they getting bonuses, and are they incentivized in the right way? And do they have enough ownership? Why most founders fail, they are overly optimistic about the good news, and they are dismissive of the bad news, right? And so that's when you start to see those signals. Like every month, our founders will send us an update. And I've got some founders who are like, everything's great. We're popping it off. Up and to the right. Strong prints. Ba-da-da. And I look at those and I go, okay, there's a little bit of hubris. Okay, but it is what it is, right? But then there's a founder who says, we had a great quarter, great month. We put this much revenue on the board. We rolled out our product, but 2 of my key players left the company. And so I'm really trying to understand, what about how I lead, or where the company is going, or our compensation model is affecting retention of people. And so that person is becoming a CEO. A founder says, we've got this problem and I'm going to stay up all night long and I'm going to solve it. I'll give you an example. I have one of the founders I work with. He is very coachable. He's a former FBI agent, former data scientist. He's literally not only very interesting, but brilliant, right? What I love about our dynamic and our partnership is that he's coachable. He listens, he asks great questions, but he also knows at the end of the day, I'm not the CEO of his company, he is. And so we will have conversations of many types. I'll give you 3 examples. One was around their product strategy very early on. He's an expert, he has product market expertise. He knows the product really well, he knows the market, he built the product, he served the market. And so I remember giving feedback early on and saying, hey, have you thought about this, or what would you think about that? And he said, yeah, I take that into advisement, but this is the direction we're going to go in, and here are the reasons why. And I said, great, well, if these 2 things don't happen, let's check back in and come revisit it. And so he's able to say, I have clarity on what I'm doing, right? So that gives confidence. But I heard you, which builds a partnership. And then what we've done is we set a date, like, okay, let's come back in 6 months. And if it's not fixed, then we'll address it again. But as his partner, I know, and I can be nuanced enough to say 95% of what he's talking about is probably right, but that 5% we're going to come back and visit it because I've seen it before. And so I've got to be receptive that this is also his business. He can be coachable, but I'm not his boss. I want to work with people who are listening and who are curious, and who go, dang, you might be right, let me go. And I think the secret sauce of a great CEO is they're always taking information in, they're always cataloging it, they're always vetting it, and the best ones close the loop. Hey, at a board meeting, wow, promise, I loved that insight that you gave. We took that, and here's 18 months, and we've seen a $20 million spike in this line of business. I remember, again, Mark Zuckerberg was investing in the metaverse. He was putting billions of dollars into the metaverse every year. And his investors were just like, what are you doing? But he just kept doing it. And then someone wrote him a letter, a really famous investor, and just said, in this time, your company's not profitable. This is how much every subscriber, every advertiser results in revenue and profit, and your numbers are going down. And so he changed course, laid off tens of thousands of people, changed the direction, minimized the roadmap, doubled down on the things that were working, put the metaverse on ice. And that is him, however many years into being a CEO, of just saying, wow, I've got this market data that's getting me to change course. And that's what a great CEO does. One of the things that human nature naturally does, two fatal flaws. One is we will convince ourselves once we see that spark or that X factor. So we get emotional and then we try to use data to justify. Everyone does it. Second, we like people who are like us. Extroverts like extroverts. Introverts who judge like other introverts who judge. And so the way that you remove that fatal flaw is you have to have a process internally by which you can remove some of that influence. But you also have other people, like we have an investment committee. So you have other people. Remember I talked about the partner meeting? That's other people assessing the judgment of one investor. That's why that's so powerful. That's why you're not selling. You're myth busting and you're problem solving. So the X factor plays a part. There are founders who've gotten all the way and who were incapable, right? But ideally when it works, the process is such that you're able to remove those biases by having other people and by having a canon, a document, a tool that assesses, does this thing have legs?